Welcome to the Functional Health Coaching Show, where we are here to support and answer your questions so that you can help people on a deeper level get real results and grow your health coaching business. Do you have questions you want to ask live on the show? You can call in every Friday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1-347-637-1378. Are you looking to increase your credibility and grow your health coaching business using functional lab testing and data-driven protocols so that you can confidently solve health issues? Well, we have the course for you. Go to fdn.today/show to learn more and sign up today. Okay, let's join today's episode.
Well, hey guys, we say happy Friday once again. You have tuned in to the FDN Fantastic Friday Call, otherwise known as the Functional Health Coaching Show. And I'm your host, once again, Brandon Mollet, FDN practitioner, mentor, clinical advisor, and thrilled to be with you again on maybe hopefully where you're a beautiful Friday or heading into the weekend. If you're listening live or if you're catching the replay, these shows go back many years, and so you have a whole archive there available to you as a trainee and a graduate practitioner in the course to take advantage of. So if you're catching the replay, that's good too. So thanks again for listening and being on. This call is a live one on Friday afternoons, 1 p.m. Central. So if you do want to call in and say hello, ask a question, we definitely welcome that. Number to do that is 347-637-1378. Again, 347-637-1378. If you hit 1 on your keypad, I'll know you're there. Probably call it your area code, get your name, and then you can ask a question or two. Normally we do a whole lot of Q&A on this show. It's predominantly what we're doing. It's a support call for you guys moving through the course or as a graduate or even looking at taking the FDN course. But on occasion we have amazing guests, and I always want to bring you different folks with different perspectives and ways of doing things to help support you guys in areas that you need help. And part of that, yes, is case management. It is lab interpretation. It is questions about the course and protocol. But we get a whole lot of questions about business. So we're going to have a great guest on here in just a minute. I'll introduce her. I'll talk to you about growing your business, different ways you can do that. She's going to bring a lot of years of experience to that. And I tell you, a good business coach or a small business strategist is worth their weight in gold. So looking forward to interviewing here in just a minute. But before that, I would say it is June 12th, 2020, just for the record there, so you have that on the recording. And things are going good in FDN land, so lots of stuff going on, lots of graduates right now coming through. A lot of you guys, new guys, and I'll say welcome to you new signups here. We've had several here in the last couple months come on and start taking the course, and happy to have you guys on, and looking forward to working with you through the course and supporting you however that you need, and the journey that you're taking, and where this whole thing is going to go for you. I'm always excited to see the journey. So the start is always good, and it's some work midway through, but hopefully it's some fun work. And then at the end, you become a graduate of the course, and you're certified as an FDN practitioner. So every week we like to recognize those folks that have made it through this week. Sometimes it's a journey that's quicker, it's months. Sometimes it can be years. So either way, we're very proud and happy to acknowledge several graduates each week. And today I have 4 this week that I want to shout out to here and congratulate making it through the course. And again, wonderful people. Some of them I got to spend a little more time with than others, but had a great call on the verbal final. And where you guys are taking this, your heart and your passion, your excitement, it is totally infectious. So I enjoy those calls. I say that many times. I enjoy the verbal final calls because they boost me up. I end those calls on a high for sure. I get to go out and step out of the office and talk to people around me about how amazing calls have been and you guys coming through the course. And so I make my job kind of easy. I don't have many bad apples, right, to deal with. It's a lot of fun. But we're excited to announce 4 graduates this week, and we are scattered throughout the U.S. this week. So first one here is Judd Dean in Delaware. I've got Leslie Perrin from Minnesota, Tina Hoppert from Massachusetts, and finally, way down south, Keneal Thomas from Florida. Guys, good job. Congratulations. Tremendous. All right. Well, there'll be several more of those coming up. The queue for verbal finals and you guys turning in your written exams is very very full right now. So tremendous. You guys keep doing your thing, get out there and jump in, and then the business aspect is a side that's next. I have many trainees that ask me, okay, what do I do next? What's the next thing? And while we have great courses that you can take on some advanced labs, you can go into some deeper things there as far as the practitioner, the lab part. My first thing is go out and get your first 10 clients. And that was the same advice that was given to me by my mentor and Reed alike. Go out there and get clients. That's where you're going to learn so much the most of this work. It's in the doing of things. So it's cool to study and learn and educate. That's awesome. But getting your first 10 clients there, a lot of the logistics gets worked out that way. You figure out your flow. You start to get better at the craft. It becomes easier to do, a lot more fun. And part of that, is going to be on the business side of things. And so your marketing, your outreach, you growing as a person, as a business person, all those things there. So, make it a game. Business can definitely be viewed as a game that you can enjoy and not be stressed about. Just continue to grow and learn, and those people will come to you. And hey, we don't have to have 20 new people a week to come to us as FDN practitioners to make a good living and to help a whole lot of people. So just focus on the people that you've been given and do a good job with them, and that's just going to continue to grow as you get good results, as we always do. Okay, well, FDN Rock Conference real quick, still on October 23rd to the 25th in San Diego. Check FDNconference.com for information on that. Get your tickets now. Plan to be there. I know I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you guys there at the conference. Going to be great. And don't forget about the trainee study hour. Every Friday, a few hours before this show, there's a Zoom link for that, and you guys can jump on and talk to, usually Don's going to be on there as course supervisor, Reed most of the time, and also another mentor. So great time for you to get some one-on-one questions asked. If you need a little extra study help there, we provide that every week. So make sure you guys are aware of that. Please take advantage of that. So good stuff. Well, we've got plenty of time here to talk to our guests. I want to make a little transition here and do a little bio here on our guest today. You guys may have caught her last year on the Health Coaching Summit that we put together there. She was on with Reed and interviewed there. So guest this week is Julia Sarver, and she is a small business strategist specializing in helping health coaches take more action. I underlined that in the bio. I said take more action. I love that. She's also an IIN health coach, NLP master, and serial entrepreneur. She's run her own health coaching practice since 2009. In that time, served hundreds of clients and managed to go on a 3-month sabbatical camping in Africa with her husband while still making money. That's quite a feat there. So we'll maybe get into that here in a little bit. She's passionate about the role health coaches play in our healthcare system and is a business strategist at her core. So, like I said, having a good business coach, strategist, that's a huge benefit to your business. You can't be an expert at everything. And so some people that have had experts, that's why people hire us, right? They don't know how to help their health 100%. They need an expert. Maybe they've done all they know to do. And so they need you to come in, take them to that next level. Well, that's what a business coach can definitely do for you. So that's Julie's background. And then we'll talk about a couple different topics here today. But I'm just going to say, hey, Julia, welcome to the call.
Thank you so much for having me, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be able to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for spending some time with us there. I know everybody's going to enjoy that. And if you guys, you want to call in and ask Julia a question, again, you can do that. 347-637-1378. See a lot of you guys lining up right now, so she's happy to take your questions too about a business or anything else that you probably want to ask about that. I think she could probably handle it here. So very cool.
Hopefully.
So
I think so.
Yeah. Hey, 2009, you've been doing it for a little while. I graduated the FDN course in around 2010, 2011. So we've got some experience now, right?
Yes. I mean, and it's kind of shocking looking back on it that it's already, for me, been over 11 years. I'm not sure where the time has gone, but yes, absolutely. I've learned a lot in that time.
I hear you. Well, one question I like to ask often in the beginning here is, how did you get into this? Do you have a lot of people have their own health challenges and health story, or did you just kind of come by this naturally, or how did you get into this space?
It's a great question. And I find, like you, that a lot of people have a personal health story, which is how they sort of fall into this work. And I was one of those people who, I was in the newspaper and in whatever magazine, I was always interested in the health section. That's what I turned to first. So one of the things I did in my 20s was I decided that I was going to train for a marathon. And I trained and trained and trained. I followed all the rules. I did, I had a training buddy. We went and did our marathon, felt really great to check that item off my bucket list. And then the next week we met to start running again, and I couldn't run. It was the craziest thing. My body just literally did not have the energy. And I thought, well, that's weird. Maybe I just haven't recovered. So that problem kept happening, and it kept getting worse and worse. And I kept getting sicker and sicker and more tired and falling asleep on the couch, after dinner, and just all this litany of health issues that at age 28, I should not have been dealing with. So, I went to the doctor. Nothing's wrong with me. Maybe it's in your head. Maybe you need therapy. There was a lot of stuff where I kept thinking, this isn't right. This isn't right. Something is wrong in my body. And I finally found a practitioner who said, I think that you're allergic to gluten. And so this was a while ago, right? This was before gluten sensitivity was known as a thing. And it was still kind of a more unknown topic at that time. So she said, I really think you need to cut out gluten and actually probably dairy too. And what could be a forever long story, really what happened was it turns out I am very sensitive to wheat and to gluten. And I had been training for this marathon where you're encouraged to carb load all the time, right? For your long runs. And that was also at the time that whole wheat pasta was new, whole wheat this was new, whole wheat that was new. So I was basically just had accidentally poisoned myself. So when I had figured that out and when I was able to recover, which as we know takes time, I couldn't believe the change in how I felt. And I got to this point where every day I wake up and I feel good. And I want everyone I know to have that. I want everyone I know to wake up and feel good and have energy and feel like their mood is in a good space. So that's how I got into this. I basically Googled, how do I teach this? Found an online, at the time it was in person, now it's an online nutrition school, enrolled, and that was that.
Wow. I love it. I love to hear people's health stories. Some of them are super, super dramatic. Some of them, sounds like for you, was it just as simple as the dietary changes for you, or was there a little more to that? Was there other aspects that had to be changed, or was it night and day for you?
It was night and day for me. I mean, it made a huge difference. And I think, the pushing of the extreme training plus the wheat overload at that time just created way too much stress for my body. And then, that was a long time ago. I'm now 41, so we're talking years ago. But also in time learning, how do I manage my stress better? How do I manage, my workload better? So it's been certainly a process and one that I will definitely stay engaged in. But for me at that time, it was such an eye-opener.
Wow. I'm thinking back to 2009. Yeah. So that was, some of these things were really new. People think they've been around for a long time, but yeah, we're kind of I feel like the 90s were kind of the dark ages of nutrition and health. I don't think we knew hardly anything.
We didn't. I mean, that was the low-fat whole wheat time. So we know a lot more now. And I always joke that I had to go gluten-free before there was a gluten-free aisle. So it was a time when it was really very different, right? There weren't these other options available.
Yeah, you had to cook and buy naturally gluten-free ingredients for a change.
Yeah, right. Vegetables. Who would have thunk of it? So
right.
Anyway,
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So from there to starting to work with people one-on-one and teach what you have there. So how long did you work one-on-one with clients?
In the health coaching space?
In the health coaching, before you kind of went to the business side.
Yeah, so I did that for... Yeah, I don't do as much of both anymore because I actually have 2 young children. So it's been an interesting process to be working and to be earning an income and to do it before I had kids. And then when I had my first son, I made a transition. He is 6 now. But I did that work for 5 years. And I basically, at the beginning you said, go out and get your first 10 clients. And I started laughing because that's my advice too, always to people. And because until you do that work of working with 10 people, you don't actually know how to do the work. And I know that always feels a little bit confusing to people, but there's so much space for learning in those first 10 clients. So I really encourage that. But I graduated nutrition school and I started working with clients right away. And I worked through I started talking to people who I already knew and my husband would share about it. And also this was before there was no Instagram. There was no, LinkedIn was the primary way people were networking online. So it was a very different time, but I think there's a lot of principles that still are the same. Start with who you know, reach out to people in your space and say, hey, I'm looking for my first few clients. Do you know anyone who might be interested? So I think those principles still apply. But yeah, that was 5 years of doing that work. Gotcha.
And then what kind of turns you there going into more on the business coach strategist side of things?
So it's such a funny question because it was never my intention. I don't know if it was ever your intention to do that, but I ended up becoming accidentally very successful. And at the time, it was hard to see what I was doing right. And now I can look back and see what I did right. And I'm able to teach it to other people. But I started out, like I said, working with my private clients, but then there were a whole bunch of people who were following me. They were opening my newsletters. They were, asking me for stuff, but they never signed up for private coaching. And I was like, what? Why aren't they signing up? Why don't they want to work with me? And what I finally realized was that they weren't actually ready for that step. And so what I did, because people started actually messaging me and saying, hey, what do you think about detoxes? And I said, oh, well, I've actually never done one. And they said, well, what do you think about the, I'm spacing on the name of the one that's like, it's just water and cayenne pepper and lemon juice. And the Master Cleanse, yeah. Master Cleanse. So that was at the time when Master Cleanse was really popular. And they were all like, what do you think of Master Cleanse? I said, well, I don't know if that's right for me. And you have to remember, I was working with people who were at the beginning stages of getting healthier. And so they were the ones who were still drinking Diet Coke because isn't that the healthier option for us, right? So what I ended up doing is I thought, all these people are asking me about this short program. Maybe I'll just make one. So I ended up creating a short 5-day detox, it was whole foods based. It did require people to cook like we were just joking about. And it asked people to cut out the 3 inflammatory things that most people eat way too much of: gluten, sugar, dairy. Because when I cut those out, that made such a difference for me. And so I marketed that. And when I say marketed, I use that term loosely because, again, I don't have an entrepreneurial background. I sort of fell into this. But basically, I went out and I said, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you all think? And 37 people signed up for it, like immediately. Oh. And so when that happened, I realized I was onto something. And over the next 5 years, I built that program as the cornerstone of my business. Started getting 100 people enrolling every time I offered this short 5-day detox. And it also filled my private coaching programs, right? So that was the amazing part. So I just didn't have to really market my private coaching anymore because it just was naturally filling. So I did that for 5 years. Then we went and did our sabbatical in Southern Africa where we did that fun bush camping. And when I came back, I was like, everyone in the health coach community who I knew was asking me, how did you do that? Can I use your materials? Tell me how you did that. And so it just became this natural progression to working with health practitioners because so many people were asking me for the support. So again, kind of accidental, but that's where I am now.
Gotcha. Well, I think it's like a lot of other things, just even the health coaching side of things. If you get good results, it's going to make people kind of wake up to what you're doing there. It's just it's a draw. It's like a magnet,
Exactly. And I love that you said that because that's something I teach and talk about a lot that we don't think about as healers and practitioners because we're really thinking about, the bigger picture for the client and all the change for them to get to optimal health. And that's our job. But the other part of our job is to remember that for a lot of our clients, they've been trying to fix this, whatever this is, whatever their problem is, for a really long time, and they haven't felt successful. And so I think that's the magic of the program that I offered, is that it was just 5 days. And so people could actually succeed at 5 days versus failing at 30. Do you know what I mean? Like they could really do a solid 5 days. At the end of the 5 days, they're like, wow, I feel better, instead of kind of cheating a bunch of times in a longer program, right? So that made a huge difference. And my clients came back again and again and again, and they brought their friends, and it really took on a life of its own.
Interesting, the psychology side of that. Success is important. You're right, because, that's, well, I guess you're kind of, in some ways, not kind of a negative spin, but you're kind of admitting defeat when you have to hire somebody to help you with something, in a way. So I think you're right. That's kind of naturally kind of in us there, so we have to kind of swallow that pride a little bit and say, hey, I do need help. And then you're right, a 5-day thing, hey, I think, like you said, most people could probably do 5 days where just set those small goals there. I can see how that would build and reinforce that behavior.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for those of us who really care about people's health, which we do, I think sometimes we get caught up in like this bigger change people need to make. But in my experience, the bigger change is not possible until they start getting those small wins. And so when they have that small win and they're like, oh, I can cook for myself. Oh, my family actually will eat this food. Oh, I can say no to the cookie jar. That opens possibility in ways that is just incredible for our clients.
Exactly. Well, especially the diet side of things, that's some of the most quick changes you possibly, I think, can see of anything you can do, almost more than a supplement or maybe going to bed. Sleep is important, but the dietary changes can just be almost immediate. So you're right. Yeah. Very reinforcing.
Yeah, it is.
So this 5-day detox program there. So what was included with that? Was it some one-on-one stuff, videos, or documentation, or maybe give us a feel for that program?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like I said, I cut out dairy, gluten, sugar, and then really focused all the recipes on whole foods. So we did keep some lean proteins in. There were some vegetarian options, but really tried to make it food that was accessible. So instead of wanting people to go, all on juice for a week, which, that's great if it works for you, I tried to keep the food recognizable so that people would feel like, okay, I can actually eat it. I also include a handbook. So the handbook it's pretty, it's more about how can you be successful than it is about, why do we need to detox? So yes, there's a piece about what is the detox process in your body? What are the organs that do it? How does it help us? But it's more about, and here's some general tips. It included a daily protocol, and, asked people to do certain things at certain times of day. And that was basically it. And then also, of course, I included a recipe guide and a done for them shopping list. So my intention was to make it, print and go to the store. You're good to go. Then during the detox week, there is an online members only group on Facebook usually. So this is how long I've been doing this. This was before Facebook groups, which is hilarious to me that ever was time. So I know, right? We had to use a different forum called Ning. So there's a group that they get to join, which is great. It's good for community and support. A few days before they start, I would host a pre-detox kickoff call just to walk them through the materials, to say, hey, so glad you're here. Let's talk about what's going to happen during this next week and how you can, what to think about, how to prepare. Then during the week, every day I would, do a scheduled post saying, hey, it's day 1, we're here, hooray. Let me know what your goal is for the week. Day 2, how are you feeling? Usually people start not feeling well, kind of stuff like that, just continuing the conversation. And then at the end, I would do a how to exit the detox. So encouraging people, maybe don't add gluten back right away, like that kind of stuff, just so they knew how to move forward. And that was it. So, it's a short 5 days, mostly focused on support, doing some teaching, but primarily about teaching people, listen to what your body's telling you. Do you feel better? If so, that's something to pay attention to.
That's a big one right there. That's definitely one of my goals with clients is, hey, be aware. It's that slowing down, be aware of how your body's responding to things. And sometimes people forget how bad they once felt. You almost have to go back and recap some of that for them.
Absolutely. It's wild. And what I found with this program that was so helpful for people is that most people were not ready after 5 days to completely go dairy, sugar, and gluten-free, right? But they could see like, oh, maybe I need to consider that. And I would offer this seasonally, and they would come back the next season and they'd say, I'm pretty sure dairy is a problem for me. So they would have paid attention in the time in between, and then they'd do it and they'd be like, yeah, I got to cut that out. So it was great because they would come to that conclusion, and they, in the best way possible, right? Like Brandon, you and I can say you need to stop eating dairy, but that's not as powerful as realizing it yourself.
Exactly right. Exactly. And that's a coaching thing too, because you're right. You said you've got some education there, the nuts and bolts and the mechanics of why this is good, but then there's that deeper level, why are you doing this in the first place, and the how-to and the support. All those things are multiple forces coming together to help them succeed, sounds like to me. That's right. Exactly right. Maybe I missed this, but are there any really supplements involved in this, or just all food-based? They don't have to buy any kind of thing other than food, right? Well, I do include a very basic supplement regimen, and it's something that is just super basic because, I'm wanting to be aware of which health practitioners are allowed to make recommendations like that and which aren't. So some are, some aren't. And it's a daily probiotic, a little bit of vitamin D every day, B vitamins, vitamin C. Just, again, super basic, but just something to help them kind of notice. We do keep it optional so that people can decide, for themselves. And also the reality is, as you well know, if you're going to buy quality supplements, it's an investment. So helping people sort of decide if they're ready to make that investment or not. Gotcha. Yeah, to kind of hit some of the foundationals there, and then the diet part's super powerful, and just that, just to focus on something of that aspect of their health for a short time. And I find, maybe you can agree with me here or not, as what you've seen, so many people, they just think that self-care is just such a selfish thing, and they just don't take the time for themselves. So it seems like to me, maybe 5 days is like, hey, you can do 5 days at least. Yes. Well, and that's part of the marketing, right? For me, with this program is, you can do, it's only 5 days. Anyone can do it for 5 days. Build it into your work week. Just make it part of it. And we do talk about self-care. Within the program, I do talk about self-care, but in small doses, right? So a couple times this week, take an Epsom salt bath. Maybe consider doing 3 things you were grateful for today. Because I think, again, it's we want everyone to change everything immediately. I am one of those people. I want everything to be different tomorrow. And that it's not actually effective. So finding ways to introduce these ideas so that people can pick them up over time. And one of the things I do as well related to self-care is at the end of the program, during that end of Detox closing call, I say, tell me one thing you're not going to start doing again, and tell me one thing you're going to keep doing. So, I'm going to stop swinging by my coworker's desk to dig into her candy jar, and I'm going to continue to take an Epsom salt bath twice a week, right? So those are actually 2 self-care pieces that people can continue. So those small things add up. I like it. It sounds like the good support is built in with that too. I think the Facebook group and that connection there with community, especially now, it seems like, but just in general, and that's even just with business, right? So nobody's going to work with you unless they feel like they have some kind of connection. There's some trust there. There's some relationship built. So it sounds like you're starting to get that component built in too, is that trust and that relationship built. Absolutely. And I think it's so helpful it's a way to show up as a leader in your community. And it's something we don't talk about in business very much. We talk about, there's a lot of talk online about the funnel and your opt-in and your this and your that. But what is really important to think about is, how are you showing up as a leader for the people who want to hear from you? And when you do a program like that, especially if you're just starting out, so if you're somebody who's listening and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have no leadership in me, the reality is
you do, and you get to cultivate it. And one of the ways to cultivate it, it doesn't mean you have to stand on a stage somewhere and shout out, I'm the leader, but you can do it in small doses in communities like this. And when you do that, people start to see who you are, and they start to trust you, and they start to trust that you are going to do the things you say you're going to do, which it sounds so obvious and small, but it's so critical in building a business and a brand that people want to invest with.
I love that. That is so good. I think, like we have to take these huge, massive actions and do something super, super big, but it starts with the small things, just like with this 5-day detox. It's a small little step there, and you're right. Those people you're working with will pull things out of you that you didn't know were there. Yeah.
And again, it goes back to this idea of the win. I don't think we talk about this enough in our service-based types of businesses. Your client has to win because we cannot force them into making change. And if they have an experience with you where they get to win at like, for example, let's say they've been trying to lose weight for 20 years and they've yo-yoed and yo-yoed and yo-yoed and yo-yoed. And then they come and work with you and they have an experience that actually for real feels doable and actually for real for them feels like they can continue it. That's a huge win for your client because you've opened up a possibility that didn't exist. And when we do that, like that's leadership. And that's how you start to build your business is by doing these small wins with people, but also understanding that for them, it's huge.
It also makes me think too, the concept that your clients aren't going to go any further than you already have come as a person.
Oh yeah.
So
totally.
if we're not out there, if we're afraid to take some of those actions and do some of the things we're asking them to do, there's just a mismatch there, and you can feel that energy there. I think that could be a holdup for some. This is really a good conversation here. This part of it because as FDN practitioners graduating the course, you know a whole lot. Even like IN, you know a whole lot of information, the nuts and bolts about how to take somebody. What to do, what to recommend them to eat, their diet, their lifestyle, supplementation, with the FDN, all the lab testing there. You got so much data and information that you're trained really well in, but it's this next component we're talking about here. So if your business isn't growing, maybe look back at yourself a little bit. Are there some things in you, action steps you need to take and grow yourself so you can start to attract those people?
And I will just mention, this is something I see a lot with people who work with me. There's almost always an underlying fear of what if I can't help them? And I know we're talking about business growth right now, but I promise you this relates. And there's this deep fear of what if I can't help them, even with all the knowledge that we have. And so I think if that's your concern, one thing to think about is your client is not investing in you. They are not saying, here, Brandon, please take $1,000 and go have a great vacation with it. That's not what's happening. They are investing in themselves through you. And so if we can remember that that's what's happening in this exchange of money, they are trying to make themselves be better. They're not paying you so that you can be better. And the reason I bring that up is because I find that a lot of people say, well, I don't know how to charge. I don't want to, disappoint my clients. And I think there's often some work to be done in that sort of mindset around, well, what is your responsibility as the practitioner? What is your responsibility as the leader of that relationship? And it's obviously not, you can't go over to their house and cut the kale for them. We can't do that. But what do we need to be doing so that we are showing up to hold that space for them? And I think that is often a place that's just really interesting to dive into when people are really struggling.
Wow. Some powerful mental shifts here you're bringing up. I love that, investing in themselves through you. Right there, you guys can just take that right there and expound on that and think through that, guys. That is a big shift that can totally catapult you guys.
Mm-hmm. And I guarantee we've all already done this because when I go get a massage, I'm not there for the massage therapist. I'm there for me. So it's the same, right? It's the same sort of cash exchange, money exchange. When I go get chiropractic, I'm there for me. I'm not there for the chiropractor. So sometimes it can be helpful just to sort of make ourselves a little less important in the relationship. So I know that sounds funny because I'm saying be the leader, and also part of leadership is holding the space so that they can have the change, and understanding how that change can be brought about.
Mm-hmm. That's some good stuff. I love this. So you guys talking
are we
to
off track, though?
having a good conversation.
We are.
That's good. That's awesome. So we're talking to Julia Sarver today here, guys. So if you want to ask a question, on this topic or something related to business or the 5-day detox program here, we're going to be telling you how to get your hands on that, to offer that to your clients if that's something that you want to do. I'm sold on that as far as the psychological aspect of that, just to help people with something like that. But if you guys want to, again, ask a question of Julia, you sure can. Number 347-637-1378, or you guys there, I see you lined up there on the switchboard there. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to ask a question, make a comment on something, just hit 1 on the keypad, and I will bring you on. Happy to hear from you guys. So business questions for sure. Okay, so as far as the 5-day detox program goes, so when would you consider adding this? There's some signs that this might be a good fit for our clients.
So it's a great question. And people ask me all the time, what if I'm still in school? What if I don't have a list yet? And I think when I look back on my mistakes that I made when I was beginning, I, like so many of you, I'm a lifelong learner. And I spent a lot of time learning more and more and more about nutrition when I wish I would have been spending more time learning how to run my business. And like you said at the beginning, Brandon, go get your 10 clients. I actually wrote that down in my notebook here, and then I wrote, but how? And that's the question always, but how do I actually do that? So if you are just beginning your business and you're thinking, I don't have a list, I don't understand marketing, I don't know how to do this, offering something like program like this can sometimes feel better for people because it isn't that direct one-on-one. It's more like saying, here's this program I have, and the program is a little bit separate from who you are. And it allows you to say, well, look at that thing over there that I'm selling. And again, I bring this up because, again, I find that so many people in this space were so committed to the healing and the helping, and we don't do enough of learning around the marketing. So if you're just beginning, offering something like this can be a great way to just reach out to family and friends. And you can just say, hey, I'm thinking about doing, a whole foods-based cleanse, detox, reset, whatever word you want to use. What do you think? Would you be interested? And you'll find that people will say, oh, yeah, actually, I've heard about those. I've always wanted to do one, and it is a nice way to get your business started. So that's one way to know, are you getting started and you really don't know what to do? Consider adding a group program like this so that you feel like you have something to point to. Or, and this was something that happened in my business, my nutrition school said, just keep offering private coaching. Eventually they'll sign up. That was the business advice at the time. And I was like, okay, because I didn't know how to run a business. So I followed that advice, and that advice does not work. So I found that I had to offer a different entryway. What's nice about a program like this, that's lower cost, lower, commitment, lower risk, is that it's a way for people who are kind of keeping an eye on you to come in and work with you without having to make that bigger commitment. And sometimes the commitment isn't necessarily about money for them. It can be about, being too nervous to make that big of a change. So it's a nice way if you've had a bunch of private clients, but you aren't sure what to do with them once they're done, and you aren't sure how to bring that next layer of clients in, something like that can really fill a hole like that in your business.
I like that. I like that a lot. So, this program here that we're talking about, so how can we start to implement this? Is there a good place we can go? I'll probably put some links in the show notes there. So something that we're interested in, I think would be a good fit. How do we connect with you? What's the best way?
So you can find out more about what is called the Detox Done program, where you get everything that I've talked about here. So you get all the materials I've used. It's a year's worth of detox materials. So you'll get a spring protocol and handbook, a summer protocol and handbook, fall and winter, plus corresponding recipes. So it's a full year of material to give to your community. You can go check it out at detoxdone.com/FDN. So there's a special page with special pricing for all of you, which is awesome that we get to do that.
Cool.
And the program also includes all the marketing training. So I really think about this program, it's more than just getting a detox. There's a ton of marketing training. You get all the sales pages for each season. You get the marketing emails. You get social media graphics, what to say in your social media. There's a lot of that's done for you. Plus, we also have an ongoing training library where I bring in industry experts to talk about what's happening in the industry and to teach on things like, how do you talk about toxins within the scope of a 5-day detox? That, should we even bring that like plastic up, for example? How do you actually fill your detox? Well, one way is through workshops. And so there's a whole training on how do you add workshops to your business so that you can actually start to grow and continue to grow. So I really look at it as a very robust program that has a lot of training and help. And actually later today, I'm teaching into that community. I'm teaching on how do you use free challenges to fill your detox. So there's lots of ongoing content. And it sounds like you all do that too, which is great. But, my intention is for you all to be supported and feel like you know how to do this.
Yes. Well, I just wrapped up last month, I think. We did first one we actually ever done with FDN was a 10-day sleep challenge. Which I participated in with my, and it was great. Those things right there, they build community. They're actually really fun. You can go so many different ways with them. And if you guys participated in that, we gave you a lot of the materials where it was really easy to implement. So this sounds like just, maybe 10 times that amount of value that you're getting there with this. So that makes it so easy because you don't want to feel like you have to be the graphics expert and you have to be the copywriting expert and the tech expert.
Right.
A lot of those things are covered. That just makes it so less scary getting into that.
That is what a lot of the people in the Detox Done community say. They say, if I had to make this myself, I never would have launched it. And one of my clients, Danica, she says, I would have wanted it all, like I would have stared at a blank screen and I never would have figured out what to write in those emails. So that's all done for you, so you don't have to be staring at a blank screen so that you can actually get more traction and get going. It's incredible. People come and they sign up and they come back and they say, hey, I actually was able to enroll 50 people really quickly. And I'm like, that's amazing. Or they'll say, I did 10, and that was great for me because I have 0. I've never done anything before. So it's really great to see the different types of success that can come out of it when people, and then my favorite always, Brandon, is when they come into the group and they say, I did what you said. It totally worked. And it always cracks me up because it's like I'm telling you, and I'm sure you too, like you and I are saying some very similar things. We're saying this because in our many years of doing this work, this is what works. And we want you to be successful.
Yes, totally. I like it just, again, in your bio there, just, take more action. You have to make some kind of step. Move forward, It probably will do well. You'll get some benefit from that. If at the very minimum, you're going to learn. You're going to learn some things. Right. You're going to start getting used to this, and you can identify things. So it's just it's a process that you go through. And again, like I said in the beginning, make it like a game, make it fun. You learn different lessons. I'm not going to do that again, or I don't like how that turned out. I'll change things a little differently. And then, like I said, you look back, and now it's like, well, hey, I've been doing this for 11 years now. I've learned a lot of lessons, and it's much easier, a lot more fun, and you just hang in there. So, take some action. That is the key.
Yes.
Love it. And I know that staring at the
imperfect action. Go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead. Please say that.
I was going to say imperfect action beats perfect inaction every day of the week.
Oh.
It just does, and there are moments. Yes. I will tell you, it's easy for me to come on this podcast, and I do a lot of interviews like this where it sounds like, oh, she's figured everything out. And that's not true. I mean, I still have learning to do, but because I have been very successful with this product and with other programs and products, now I can look at it and say, oh, that's why that worked, which is why I can teach it to you. I don't always in the moment know exactly why it's working, but that's something that I think I just want to tell people, I'm in that space. I'm very open in Detox Done. I talk about where am I still failing, because I want failure not to be so scary. Failure is absolutely how we learn and how we get our business to grow.
Wow. I'm glad we're recording this because you guys need to go back and listen to this and just take some of these nuggets here that Julia's putting down. These are huge things. These are saving you years of frustration right here. That's what she's doing here with some of these concepts. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly right. So yeah, the imperfect action. I love that. That's something I personally really struggled with in the beginning because I was, maybe it's my personality, whatever. I always wanted it, whatever I presented was like, it had to be, I thought, at least in my mind, absolutely perfect. And Reed was one of the ones that taught me that. He said, you do the best you can, but you need to get something out there, pilot it, try it, let's see where it goes, and grow. And that's what he did with the FDN course. It was a weekend. The FDN course started out as a 2 or 3 day, I think it was 2-day weekend, several hundred slides that he went through and started out like that. And then it grew from there. AFDNP, our association, was kind of the same way too. It's like, hey, we need to offer some things people have been asking for extra support as a graduate. Okay, let's come up with some things we can offer, and let's just put it out there. Let's see where things start to go, and then look where it's grown to now. Last, I guess, 3 or 4 years now. So he really taught me that imperfect action. Not that what we were putting out wasn't great, but it was tremendous. But you have to start somewhere and let that begin to grow. I don't know if we can even handle. I don't know if you almost have to grow, because I don't know if you can handle a huge success at one time. You have to grow into that. So there's no other really way to go but take it slow and start with something.
I always say that running a business is like riding a bicycle. And again, I have no idea how to run a business. Like, I threw myself into it and I've learned on the way. So I don't have some background in business. But running a business is really like riding a bicycle, because you and I can talk about riding bicycles all day. We can talk about our favorite route, our favorite tires. We can read the bicycle manual. We can watch other people riding bicycles. But until you put yourself on that bike and you start pedaling, don't know how. And that is like the end, period. You don't know how to run a business until you start running a business. So that's why I'm such an advocate for this movement. Like, go do something, because you'll come back and you'll know how to do it better next time.
Oh, so good. Exactly right. Exactly right. Wow. Well, you guys are quiet out there today, so if you do want to ask a question, we've got about 10, 11 minutes or so left in the call. So you're hearing a lot of years of wisdom coming from Julia here, so it's a good time to ask some questions about, general questions about your business or specific things about what you're doing. You guys can definitely take advantage here of that. So again, number for that is 347-637. That's 1378, and hit 1 on your keypad, and I'll bring you on. You guys can ask a few questions here. So. Oh, wow. Well, we've covered a lot in an hour, not less than an hour. It's like packed full. Like we said, we've got a lot of nuggets here, a lot of wisdom that's being laid down here. And I tell you guys, we all go through this. None of us is immune to this, Even if you have a little bit of business background, all these growth things that we have to go through, we all have to go through them and work through these things. And that's just, you look back and look at Julia here, success that she's had, but she had to learn these lessons also. We all have to. So, the quicker you can learn these lessons, the quicker you're going to be where you want to be as far as your business goes and what you're doing. So you kind of got to lean into these things, step into these things, and maybe a little scary, but I think like Julia said in the beginning there, you're going to be really surprised at what comes out of you and what you've got in you and what you've been depositing. You make all these deposits like she's talking about, learning how to, watching people ride bikes and reading about how a bike works and those things. You're making really powerful deposits. And so eventually you've got to grow, and something's got to come out of those deposits. So you've got to start to give out of that surplus of things that you're putting in. So it's your duty. It's your duty to. I think we get very, we overconsume information, and we get a little bit bloated when we do that. So you've got to release some of that.
Yes. Yeah. And I think people always ask me, as well, especially people who are at the level of FDN practitioners who really understand, the value of testing and what to do once you have the testing. They say things to me like, well, a 5-day detox doesn't feel like it's enough. And so then they'll say, does that actually create change for your client? And I think we have to think about what is the change we're looking for with our client. So does it do some kind of deep cellular cleanse? Of course not. It's only 5 days. But I want to invite everybody who's listening to kind of zoom back and take a more holistic view of how they're doing this work. And when we do that zoom, we understand that people need to come into our space in different ways. People need to be called into us. And so this running something like a 5-day detox that gets people to have a success and then they're telling everybody about it, that's an incredible call in. That's an incredible way to pull people toward you. And I recommend doing that in your business, whether you use the program that I offer or not. It's just something to think about in your business. Where are the people going to come from? They're not out, waiting for you in the forest somewhere for you to discover. Like, we really need to do this active work of saying, here's what I can create for you. Here are the things that, I can support you with. And then it helps tremendously to have people who have done a small program with you, because that you can handle a volume of people in that space talking about it too, right? That's what helps you kind of grow organically, which is always a really great thing to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great fit for FDN practitioners. It's right down our alley. Everything we do in our bigger programs, detoxification is just naturally built into it. All the things we do with our address protocol, guys, detox is part of that. And then, of course, the dietary changes, that's, sugar, gluten, dairy. Okay, we kind of all know that's kind of a given for us as experienced practitioners, but for some people, that's a brand new concept to them. I've had multiple clients in the past few months here just say, so now potatoes have gluten in them, right? I'm like, no. So you never know what people are not aware of. And so they just need help. They need some education there. So something that simple can be a game changer. So we have the detox component, the diet component in there, and it's short, doable. It's a great fit. Guys, I think it aligns with all our FDN principles, that's for sure. I like it.
That's great. I love hearing that.
I do, yeah, exactly. So, okay, all right. So about 8 minutes or so left in the show today. So, Julia, anything else about the program that you want to let us know about before I might maybe ask you for a few more just kind of last-minute tips and things you could give to us as far as practitioners go? So anything else more about the 5-day detox?
Yeah, I would say go check it out. It's detoxdone.com/FDN. And the program is really designed to help you create your success quickly. So there is a track for, there's a whole training on what do I do if I don't have a list? How do I make this work? So there's an entire training on that. Like I said, there are trainings on ongoing education opportunities. Every month I do a live Q&A session, so you have an opportunity to come in and to give you feedback. We also do a quarterly group detox, so that's actually really fun. It's something that's a big part of our community, so that you get to do the program. We do it together before you all go offer it to your clients, so that you have a chance to say, oh, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be like for my client. You have an understanding of the program before you go offer it. So I think that is something that's just a nice little bonus we get to offer, and it's usually really fun. So, and I mean, of course, like what other community could we say, let's have fun and detox together? It would only be with health practitioners. But it's nice because you get to be with, a community of people who really get it, a community of people who understand why you would want to not have sugar. So I think that's always nice to be able to build our communities that way as well. Yes,
100%. Cool. You guys check it out. See what you think about it. I think it sounds tremendous. And again, it's beyond just, hey, here's some recipes and some guidelines for people. It's like way beyond that, which is tremendous. And this is the Friday support call, so it's support on your cases, moving through the course, protocols, the dress protocol aspects of that too. And definitely we talk a whole lot of business on this call too. And so this is a really awesome tool to be able to implement really quickly, and no better time than the present. I think there's no reason to wait for anything. I think with everything going on in the world, it's been kind of crazy. I think a lot of us, I noticed in it as far as my business goes, and even the course, everybody did about a 3-day pause, or sorry, 3-week pause, where just nothing was happening, and then things have started to open back up. So don't look at the circumstances around what's going on. You need to speak your truth. You need to get out there and offer things, because people are looking for this. They're wanting to make change. Everybody's got health on their mind, too, maybe even more so than ever. So no time like the present, guys. So get out there and do it. All right. Well, Julia, anything else you want to, any more wisdom, pearls of wisdom you can add to the call here today? Anything else you want to let go of?
Well, I just want to acknowledge what you're saying, what you're speaking to, that the world feels really chaotic. And so that is true. And we can understand that if it feels chaotic for us, it feels chaotic for our clients. So really thinking through, yes, I think there are certain times when, we maybe need to pause our marketing. And also, your clients are needing us more than they ever have before. People need community. People need, those of us who can take a stand and share it. This is an important time to think through what your role is in your community. How do you want to be showing up as a leader? And how do you want to be remembered during this time? Do you want to be known for being a person who said, yes, I'm here for my community. Yes, I'm here to be a helper. Yes, I'm here and I understand how chaotic this all feels. So I think that is something to think through. And, I'm not trying to put pressure on you all, because I know a lot of you are newer, but this is a great time to start exploring what's possible. It's something that I think we don't do enough of. We dream about it, but we don't put it into action enough. So I just want to challenge you all to do a little more than you think you know how to do.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Julia, you may have to be a regular guest here. You've really been super inspiring. So thanks so much for your time coming on with us. It's been great. So the theme, guys, take some action. Small amount, big amount, take some action. That's the only way something's going to change. It's not just going to come. So you've got to put some. You can't have any fire from that fireplace unless you put in some wood. You can't have anything growing in your garden unless you put something in the ground. So put some energy, effort out there, and see what comes of it.
I love it. Thank you for having me. This was great. I loved having the chance to share and to talk. And you are all welcome to, if you have a question, you can reach me at julia@healthcoachuprising.com. So if you want to know about the program, if you're just listening to the replay and you think, I have a question about something you said, please feel free to message me there. And also, I just also would love to say a congratulations to all your students who are graduating this week. So amazing. I know how much work it is. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's something I always like to go back and just re-congratulate those folks. So thanks for saying that. We do. We're proud of them, and we're going to do awesome work there. And well, good deal, Julie. Again, thanks for being on. Good to meet you. It's our first conversation officially, so it's been fun. Yeah. And guys, thanks for tuning in. Again, congratulations to our graduates. And guys, we'll answer some more questions next week. So, guys, have a great weekend. Julia, thanks again for being on. We'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone.